So, welcome everyone. I think we can maybe start. So, just before we begin to read the synthesis of yoga, let's take one moment of silence to gather ourselves within, and then we can start the reading. So, we'll start from here. I think we left at page number 344 towards the end. And today we can take the last bit. Thus, discipline the mind will gradually learn to take up. So, from here we can start today. So, anyone who would like to read, please go ahead.
Yeah, Monica, I'll go.
Okay, Shraddha ji.
Yeah. Thus, discipline the mind will gradually learn to take up towards the body the true attitude of the Purusha. First of all, it will know the mental Purusha as the upholder of the body and not in any way the body itself. For it is quite other than the physical existence which it upholds by the mind through the agency of the vital force. This will come to be so much the normal attitude of the whole being to the physical frame that the latter will feel to us as if something external and detachable, like the dress we wear or an instrument we happen to be carrying in our hand. We may even come to feel that the body is, in a certain sense, non existent except as a sort of partial expression of our vital force and of our mentality. These experiences are signs that the mind is coming to a right poise regarding the body. That, sorry.
Where did I leave? I lost it.
These experiences are signs that the mind is coming to a right poise regarding the body, that it is exchanging the false viewpoint of the mentality, obsessed and captured by physical sensation, for the viewpoint of the truth of things. So
Yes.
here it is, Sri Aurobindo is talking about the vital, right?
No.
What is he?
No, we were continuing the release from the subjection of the body. So
Oh,
he's taking, like, holding our hands to take a step back, step back, step back, so that we can look at the body as a garment that we wear and we are not that.
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. So we can just pause here and look at this paragraph that we just read. So last time we were reading, I think more than me, the others who were there would remember that last time we were looking at how food intake, for example, we can reduce it to a minimum without the mental or vital vigor being reduced. So I'm not feeling drained, I'm not feeling that, oh my God, I didn't have food, and yet the body is with vigor, with less amount of food. And then he was sharing that it can actually be trained to a greater vigor, even more vigor than when we used to just kind of gorge upon food for our sustenance. Yeah. And then now he shares that now as we discipline, and again, this is for those of us who would like to cultivate this, who would like to practice such kind of yoga. For those who are very satisfied with fulfilling their desires of food here and there, for them, it's no point even talking about this. But for those of us who feel that maybe now I've done that enough, and maybe now I would like to move on, and see what is the capacity to which we can extend this, this stepping back from body consciousness, feelings, and thought consciousness. So now he shares that thus disciplined, the mind will gradually learn to take up towards the body the true attitude of the Purusha. And this cannot come, it cannot come if I'm still, the only way I have delight is through food, if the only way I have delight is through, in other words, say shopping, thinking about food, thinking about variety of food, what am I going to eat today? So as long as that is there, then there is no point even going what Sri Aurobindo is sharing here. But if we have done that enough, and we see that maybe something else may be possible, then that discipline and stepping back can come. And parallelly, it would be very, very important for us to connect, deep connect with the source, with mother's consciousness, with the divine consciousness, because it has to get sustained. The body has to sustain. So if I'm just on the top removing the food material or reducing the food material, but not connecting myself more and more, stabilizing myself so that my fuel is from the divine consciousness, then it can happen. It happens that we become malnourished because actually I'm lacking. The full connection is not there. And you also feel low on energy. So that individually we will have to make sure, and I'm sure we all have intuitive sense, we will get to know. So thus disciplined, the mind will gradually learn to take up towards the body the true attitude of the Purusha, this stepped back witness attitude. First of all, it will know the mental Purusha as the upholder of the body. So it's like, because of we have thoughts, and we have like one thought, then gap, another thought, then gap, then another thought. What the mind does is it creates it into a story. It removes the gaps in between, and it links all the thoughts, and it appears to me that that is a concrete thing that I am thinking. So if we look back at our past, you know so I can, through the dots connecting, the mind can recreate a story, and that will tell me that, oh, this body is me. Connecting the past incidents or connecting what is going on in the present, although each thought is a separate one, it with a gap, one comes and then the other one comes and then the other one comes, and then what we do is that we connect all the dots. The mind connects all the dots and creates into it a storyline which we don't see happening. We think that, no, that's true, this is what I am. So mind is the mental Purusha as the upholder of the body, and not in any way the body itself. It is making a formulation of the body as me, but it's not the body. The mind is not the body. Mind is not the body. There it is difference between brain and mind. Even when the brain goes off, when we leave the body, the consciousness still remains. And this is not a new thing. We all know this since centuries. So, especially in Indian thought, we know this even more, that the consciousness does not die. So, and not in any way the body itself, for it is quite other than the physical existence which it upholds by the mind through the agency of the vital force. And the vital force, we can in other words say, this prana, the breath. So the consciousness is connected to the body through the thread of breath. If the breath goes away, we know that the consciousness leaves. We say in words, we say that the consciousness has left the body. So it is quite other than the physical existence, which it upholds by the mind through the agency. This is the agency. The breath and the prana, the vital force, is the agency through which the mind is connected to the body consciousness. So this now we begin to understand. Of course, in detail we would not understand unless a true realization is there. But we think, we begin to, yes, it sounds true. It sounds true. It resonates. So initially it may start with a mental intellectual understanding rather than being a practical realization. And some of us may be given even a practical realization, in one way or the other, so that we know that this is true. And then also there comes a sense of a fearlessness, because most of us are so afraid of death. But when we know ourselves that's not dying and this body is just like a connection, like a manifestation of that consciousness, then what's the point of being in fear? We know that we don't die if the body drops dead. Yeah. So this, he says, this will come to be so much the normal attitude of the whole being. Right now, my normal attitude is, this is me. If something happens to this, then I'm in danger. This is me. I have to sustain it by eating this. Otherwise, what would happen of me? So this I take as me, the physical ego. So slowly, as we cultivate shifted consciousness, a true consciousness, then this will come to be so much the normal attitude of the whole being to the physical frame, that the latter will feel to us, the physical frame will feel to us as if something external and detachable, like a dress we wear, like I take off the jacket. I'm still okay. I've just taken off the jacket. The jacket may get wounded, but I am okay. The jacket may be torn in, like, very old, in pieces, but I am okay. So that kind of a sense of okayness we established. Dress we wear or an instrument we happen to be carrying in our hand. So either way. But my sense of self is not dependent upon the body. So that's why I would say, many mystics, we hear stories about their, uh, you know, having a surgery or having a pain, and they are not suffering. The body may be in pain, but they don't suffer because there is a detachment in the consciousness from the body. Many mystics have also, masters have also, we have, where without anesthesia one is able to get operated. How is that possible? So without this detachment, we may even come to feel that the body is in a certain sense non-existent, except as a sort of partial expression of our vital force and of our mentality. So this thing again is, we are not reading it for the first time, because people, masters, have touched upon this, that actually there is no one here, like a impersonality. So we may even come to feel that the body is in certain sense non-existent, except as a sort of partial expression of our breath, our prana, like a manifestation of that, and of our mentality. That's it. No big deal. The big deal that we create around death. And why the big deal about death? Because we think that we are here on the earth only to have families and uh, property and wealth and name and fame. And when that is threatened, we are threatened. And that's why death is so much of a big deal. Otherwise, it's actually not a big deal. It's just part of the process that is there. So these experiences are signs that the mind is coming to a right poise. This is the right poise regarding the body, that it is exchanging the false viewpoint of the mentality obsessed and captured by physical sensation for the viewpoint of the true truth of things. So this will actually really be so helpful, because most of the times we are so obsessed with our pains and sufferings in the body, really. I mean, that is such a big sense of self that we attach. Oh, look, I'm not well today. And we take some delight comes out of it. All of us know that, oh, I'm troubled by something. So then it would be like just a sidey matter, like a sidey issue. And there is no part in you which wants to take delight in that sadness of the body. You know that it's body and things happen, and you invoke some divine presence, you invoke peace, and it'll be okay even if one has to take medicines. But it's not a big deal. It's not the center focus of whatever I talk about. Many a times, for most of us, we will have seen that the body and the talk about the body and the diseases one is having and the troubles one is having, the weaknesses one is having, that becomes, gives you a sense of self, that look, I'm talking about me. So this will actually relieve us from all that trouble. And this will, I feel that this has to be a lot conscious, because older ripples will come up again and again, and something in us will compel, talk about it. Talk about it. It's fun. But if I now want to have fun in something else, then I can actually totally ignore it. Like, no need. Only when I have fun through something else, something higher. Because fun would be required. Without fun, it's not possible. So if you can have a higher taste with regard to fun, rather than talking about me and my weaknesses, that would be really interesting. Yeah, this is our possibility. So yeah, any reflections are welcome. It's a perverted sense of self that we usually have, always talking about our weaknesses, illnesses, and making it a very big deal. And even when I am not trying now to make it a big deal, no part of me should be saying that, look, I am doing so much of sacrifice. I'm not even talking about it. So not even that, not even that. How nice of me. So it's a perverted sense of self that we have, which is so much associated with the with knowing myself as this body. Yes, Dr. Anjali, please.
Monica, what would be the right attitude to handle this? Because we have not reached up to that stage. That and pain in body is there. Actually, it gives the answer to my this thing. I'm not worried about that. Lot of pain in shoulder and all these things is there. It's there. So I should take care of that. That's all. Because if we leave it that no, 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 we should not be attached with this, then this will also not okay. Everything can't be handled just by that it is said it there and you have to do it. So what should be the right attitude to handle it?
No, the right attitude, as we read, just the right attitude would be, of course, to take care of whatever we can do with regards to having relief back again. Like we were reading in integral healing sessions about recreating harmony,
Right.
re-establishing a higher equilibrium.
Mhm.
So that process, of course, nobody is saying that let go of the body and it's a bad thing. Not in that sense. but not making it my center of attraction, that we are
Yes.
sharing with everyone that
Yes,
look,
actually, inside voice comes also. Say, for example, you have shared it with your the one who cares for you. So you are telling that this is happening. Just a matter of fact. But when you start is the sharing with other, then an inner voice comes that what is the use of telling all these things? You shouldn't repeat all these things every time. It is there. It's okay. So I think this is one step towards that kind of thing, that
yes,
understanding that it has.
yes, yes. And parallelly, of course, we are working on it.
Hmm.
Nobody is saying that if headache is there and you're not getting relief by any other means, of course, take a crocin. With mother's name, take a crocin and have some relief. If you're not able to invoke even stillness, sometimes it can get very bad. But only I would know in my sincerity and honesty that when I'm talking about it, see, there are again, intention matters. It's not a problem to talk about it and try to find a good cure. But the thing is that when we are talking, our sense of self is attached to that, and I'm taking a sadistic delight in sharing about that.
Right.
That poor me.
Poor
Look
me.
at,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
if
if,
somebody is saying, then there is a tendency also that no, your pain is lesser than my pain.
yes, yes,
It is
yes.
always there. I
So
am suffering.
that's a perverted sense. That is why he was sharing that now comes a right poise.
Right.
So that we can leave our perversions.
So this is the take off from this, like reading today, that we should develop this kind of attitude
Yeah, and parallelly, as I was sharing that parallelly, it would be very, very important for me to have delight from a higher mean.
from higher, right?
So if, see, we are all hungry for delight.
Sure.
If I enjoy my pain,
Hmm.
if I enjoy talking about it and distributing it to everyone, I am taking delight in it.
Right. Right.
So it's a lower way of having delight. But I can't help it because that's the only way I know. So what to do? So all of us, we are very lucky that in this very lifetime we are in touch with mothers and Sri Aurobindo's words.
Sure.
So can I take delight in their words instead?
Right.
That they fulfill my emptiness and they give me delight, so that there is no need for delight from the lower means. Because
Beautiful.
खाली नहीं बैठ सकते ना, मतलब it can't be empty. That will kill me. Delight has to be there. Delight. So yeah, that's why even in the stages of our life, it's very important at times to meet someone, for example, to go outside, meet friends, because that is a vital replenishment that gets into me. Take a nature walk. For some people, it may be just art, music. Take a nature walk, talk to a friend. What does that do? That vitally replenishes me. But if my whole soul replenishment is coming through divine, for that I have to work, because it is not an easy process. I have to stabilize my consciousness in mother's consciousness. है ना, सिर्फ बोलने से नहीं चलेगा. Yeah. So in the meantime, while that is happening, of course, a little bit of right kind of a chat here and there is allowed. Right? I can say that aloud, because for those of us on the path, I feel that we have to really take care that we are not too much gossiping, as mother shares that, because that
Yes.
really negates
In fact,
all.
after some time, it automatically comes. You don't want to chat with other, and you only want to talk to those persons who are into this, and they are talking about, like Mother and Sri Aurobindo has talked about all the problems in a very high level. And these days, everybody is talking about so many group, or they are talking about. So we find that actually they are what they are talking about. It is again at a shallow level. There's a much higher this thing also. So we want to talk with those persons who are talking about this, and everybody is not talking about this.
Yes, and or what you can do is, when in case you happen to interact with someone who is, although on the surface, but because of your interest and genuine inclination, you take him or her deeper. That's also a possibility.
If the person is there who receives
Yes.
something,
Yes.
then I can do that.
Yes,
That
yes, yes. And just see here, what matters, I believe, is a lot of sincerity. because many a times we are still in a dualistic mind frame, which means that because I am spiritual, I am somewhere superior, and the other one is, look,
Sure.
shallow,
Hmm.
world view and lower consciousness. So if that kind of a dualistic view is there, nothing has changed. There is no difference between him and me.
Hmm. Hmm.
We think that we may have further advanced.
Actually, what I'm talking about, it's a process. The moment you realize that, oh, it is there. So automatically it happens that, okay, ये मेरा अहंकार थोड़ा सा आ रहा है कि मैं वो,
Yes.
and I remember mother and offer it to कि ये भी नहीं होना चाहिए,
Yes, yes.
ये
So
भी
we
नहीं
have to
होना
be
चाहिए.
vigilant. Yes, we have to
So
be vigilant.
vigilant होना पड़ेगा. और
Yes.
sometimes I'm not कि less spiritual नहीं. There are people who are from different paths. They talk about spirituality in a very, very different manner. In WhatsApp group, what type of lectures and all these things they are there. So you don't find interest because you have tasted some higher thing. I'm talking about that. कि अल्टीमेटली श्री अरविंद एंड मदर ने जो बोला है वो सबका निचोड़ एकदम पूरा दे दिया. You need not to talk about other things, and it can be applied on relationship, it can be applied on students, on everything. It doesn't mean कि spirituality में आप हैं तो you don't life में नहीं. That kind of screening automatically develops within you, that कि इस व्यक्ति के साथ बात करने से आपकी कॉन्शियसनेस जो है लो हो रही है, और वो थोड़ा बाद में आती है कि but when you realize, then you have to keep distance with that person, not because the person is not spiritual and things like that, but talking with that person or being in company of that person depletes your energy.
I agree. I resonate with that.
Yes.
And since just like, a sapling is growing, a
Right.
little sapling, so we have to fence around it, put fence around it.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
if either I am in such kind of a consciousness that if I am in some atmosphere, I can change that, but we know that we are not there. So we have to actually fence ourselves in some way. Yes. So that lower depleting movement doesn't arise again and again. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And that is why mother would say that, many a time children, when they were in Pondicherry, school, uh, she would say that when children go to their parents, those people,
Parents, exactly. Yeah.
actually I have to start reworking upon them
Again. Sure.
because they
That
are
I
gone.
experienced
Yes.
with me. And this is one of the greatest reason that I want to go to Pondicherry, because here I search myself. Why do I want to go there? Shanti, mother कहते हैं शांति के लिए आना है तो नहीं आना, ये नहीं आना. नहीं, but people are there who talk about this, and I want to talk to these things only. In my YouTube also, there are so many channels are just put on, and you be there and read and listen and just have that kind of delight, enjoyment.
Yeah. 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 Anything else anyone wants to add on?
Hi, there was something which was shared in one of our groups only, very recently, relating to what we were discussing about pain. And also, can I read that? This is a conversation between mother and a sadhak who had some problem of pain, and she answers. So I was thinking if I could read that for all. Yeah. So, and it's so this message says the sadhak is asking question to mother. I think he or she has some problem, and he's saying, but this, the index finger of the left hand, has not progressed sufficiently. It is still weak. You know what you should do? You must forget completely that your finger is not all right. You must forget completely. And the sadhak, I think this is mother speaking, and the sadhak says in reply, but mother, I have forgotten. When I work with the finger, the index, I never think that this finger is not all right. And now mother replies, it is mentally that you have forgotten, and that will not do. You must forget physically. You should never think that you had hurt your finger, but do the things normally without the slightest hesitation. As long as one does not forget, one cannot be cured. It has an immediate effect as if something new has grown. But When one can forget completely, then be sure that it will heal. You should do the same thing for your knee. You should forget completely that your knee is not all right. From the very cells and all that constitutes your body, you must make them forget in such a way that they do not react as they did before. Forget completely. If you can do this, your knee will be completely cured. And then there was this small habit. You must renew life, blossom into new consciousness. This is the only way to cure your knee. So it is so profound. I think I don't know who shared it, but I read it and I sort of saved it. And when we were discussing, I thought we should just read it. And Shrima says that mentally forgetting, which means probably it has gone somewhere into the subconscious. Maybe it is not at the conscious level, but it is still there. And so it exists in every cell of the body, because every cell in our body is an individual in itself. 53 trillion cells and 53 trillion, I mean, approximately. So read it somewhere. I have not covered. I don't have the capacity to know that by myself. So 53 trillion cells approximately, and each an individual with a mind of its own. And if something has gone into the subconscious, then it is still living in every cell of my body. Maybe in the conscious state, I might say that I don't remember it, but it is always existent. And so truly said Dr. Rashmi that दर्द हो रही है तो कैसे ये स्टेट को लाऊं कि मतलब याद इसको डिटैच कर लूं अपने बॉडी को. How to detach your body from the mind body detachment that we just read. But eventually that is what Maas is saying, that cures. And that is what she's been talking about. I mean, we have been reading this, that first at least to create an attitude, there's this Purusha and there's this Prakriti. So हमने पढ़ा ही अभी इसी में कि पुरुष और प्रकृति को पहले तो समझो दोनों ही अलग है. और ये जो बॉडी है, इसकी जो अंदर जो प्राणा है और इसके अंदर जो माइंड है, ये सब प्रकृति है. और पुरुषा, दैट इज द विटनेसिंग सोल इनसाइड. तो पहले तो ये समझ लेना कि ये दो अलग चीज है. और उसके बाद फिर हमारी कहानी शुरू होगी कि कहीं ना कहीं फिर मन को, जो मेंटल पुरुषा का नाम दिया गया है इसमें, मेंटल पुरुषा ये समझे कि वो मच पावरफुल देन द बॉडी है. वो अब तक बॉडी की बातें सुन रहा है, बॉडी उसको दर्द दे रहा है तो वो दर्द में सफर कर रहा है ना. तो वो पहले ये समझे कि वो बॉडी के कंट्रोल में नहीं है, बट उसको कंट्रोल करना है बॉडी को. ये सिर्फ एक भाव लाना है पहले. ये कंट्रोल आएगा नहीं शुरू में, immediately it will not come, but we are reading so that we first have this understanding, and then in every situation in our life, when I am having a pain and I will experience the pain, I will suffer also. But even if at that moment I remind myself, my mind takes control of my body, even starts to do that, I think that in itself is some sort of a sadhana, mental sadhana or whatever you can say. So I think यही बोल रहे हैं कि और जो हम अपने प्रोसेसेस करते हैं, मेडिटेटिव प्रोसेसेस और मेडिटेशन या जो भी करते हैं, उन सब से ये भाव, ये जो एटीट्यूड हमारे अंदर बनना है नॉर्मली, ये अपने आप ही बनता है. इसको हम जबरदस्ती नहीं बना सकते. तो जब भूख लगेगी तो खाना हटा भी दें तो मन में वो ड्वेल कर रहा है, इट इज ड्वेलिंग इन माय माइंड. तो इवन इफ आई रिमूव इट तो ठीक है, फिर भी मन में है. So, but I've seen at certain times when I have made up a strong will that I am not going to eat, then I'm not even feeling hungry. But this kind of attitude is not there in everyday life, Monica. When we were reading this and you were talking about that food thing, and I was thinking so true. But ये कभी-कभी तो हो जाता है कि नहीं खाना है और जरूरत भी नहीं फील होती है. But those are during specific periods when I have made up my mind, when I know how important it is. But how superficially we live in everyday life. We don't take our life with that intensity. So वही इंटेंसिटी में अगर हम शायद जिए तो हर दिन ही हमारे लिए उतना इम्पोर्टेंट होगा, वो नहीं हो पाता है. So, this is the thought that came to my mind while you were explaining. And very beautifully, you said that as a sapling, when we are growing, we have to protect ourselves for that sapling to, grow strong in its roots and stems. And then, even when the tufan आएगी, तो वो sway जरूर करेगा, but वो उखड़ेगा नहीं. वो पूरी तरह से मरेगा नहीं. So, so I think I'm just repeating what everybody has said. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. This incident that you shared, I think it was from Mona Da's Reminiscences. So
I
there is
don't
this
know whether it's
there is this book called The Supreme, which is
yes.
yeah, I think it's from
Did you
because
share that? I don't know.
no,
who
I don't
shared
know.
it.
I don't remember sharing it, but I remembered, recollected the anecdote that mother was sharing with him that you have to actually completely, forget about it. Yes, and it happens.
Yeah,
For
and in
example,
fact, I sent it to one of somebody who's
hmm,
been having this, and I said, howsoever you say, it's a different thing, but when it is mother saying,
hmm,
when it is Sri Aurobindo saying, and when you are reading those words, those are not mere words.
hmm,
With
hmm,
these are mantras. So if you
hmm,
can read with that connect, they have an impact. They have an they help you in progressing,
yeah,
developing this attitude. So I just forwarded this message to someone, and they said, yes, it's so
yeah,
beautiful. I will work. So thank you for all the sharings that happen in the group and whosoever is sharing. So thank
yeah,
you
yeah.
so
Thank
much.
you also for sharing
Thank
this. Yes,
you. It's helping all of us.
yeah.
Yeah. And you were saying something,
Yeah,
Monica.
I was
Sorry.
sharing that it happens, for example, say I have a ache in some part of my body and there is some important, say, function to attend, which I really, really want to attend, like whatever brings me delight, imagine, and what I consider very important. Usually celebrations are very important, like shadi or any things like that. So that's why I'm taking that example. So it has happened with all of us, I'm sure, in glimpses, that throughout that celebration, the main intense function, we forget about that pain.
Yeah.
And the moment we are relaxed again, it comes back again. That's a different thing.
True.
But we have glimpses of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Because I'm very sincerely in that celebration. I want to be there. Then that takes a back seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. So it's just a fear, because when an ache or any kind of a body pain or whatever or any ailment happens, it's the way we start thinking about it, and multiple thoughts, and ये होगा तो ये होगा
हमारी
तो
लाइफ में ना कुछ ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है नहीं. बड़ी बेरोजगार लाइफ है हमारी. रियली वी आर सो अनएम्प्लॉयड ना. रियली no matter how busy we may be in front of public, we are very unemployed, really. And I feel that it's not impossible to work on this. We all can work on this and give ourselves true employment, which is stabilizing deeper and deeper ourselves in true consciousness. Then if that work I give to myself, wherever I am, I may be attending several things and in the middle of chaos, but the only work I am at is stabilizing myself in true consciousness. Then this that you were saying, that why is it not continuous, why is it in glimpses, then that will become my life, because I'm making it my life.
Yeah.
So we should give ourselves true employment if we are truly sincere, serious about it, that no, this is very important for me and I have to do it. So it's our insincerity, as mother says, that we say that this is important, but there are other things also which are waiting and which are important. So yeah. But this is good, at least to discuss this, come to it, and we then have some seeds to reflect over, contemplate over, and maybe at times to practice practically whenever the next headache happens, or some
First thing is stop justifying ourselves.
yes, very true,
Stop
very true,
justifying.
very true. Yeah,
कि ये तो
very
बहुत
true.
कठिन है, ये कहाँ हो सकता है, हम तो अभी इतने बड़े नहीं हुए हैं.
हाँ,
Actually, these are the steps which we have to start with.
very true. Very true. And not defend our weaknesses. You know,
Right.
what we were sharing, that my
तो
sense
यही
of
तो
self
चीज
is
है कि देखो,
attached.
दूसरे से डिस्कस नहीं करना है कि हमने तो अपना एक सिद्धांत बना लिया, कैसे हम कि बिल्कुल ठीक है, बहुत बढ़िया है. अच्छा हाँ, फिर वो अपनी प्रॉब्लम बताना शुरू करेगा. फिर वो समटाइम्स इट हैपेंस कि जब होता है तो हम बता देना पड़ता है कि नहीं, मुझे भी ये प्रॉब्लम चल रही है. देन आफ्टर शेयरिंग इट हैपेंस ऑटोमेटिकली. क्या बेवकूफी वाली बात है कि कोई किसी का पेन सुनता है क्या जो हम बताते हैं
Yeah, I
किसी को.
think it's also with which intention I'm sharing.
हाँ.
Say, for example, I am like a curious explorer, right? And I'm sharing my experiments with that particular illness or disease that we are talking about. I think then there is a sincerity in that talk. Usually, we are, as you were sharing, we are insincere. We are saying something. I may be talking about the illness, and making it very serious, but inside somewhere, I'm actually having delight in that. So that's insincerity. And so if I'm talking to someone, to a loved one or anyone who is receptive, and we are having a discussion about an illness or a disease, and I'm like a curious scientist, I'm talking about the experiments and also open and receptive, I think then it's a different kind of a sharing. But our usual, the way you are sharing, that our usual sharings are that shallow, and better not talk about it. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. So, for example, we were attending this conference in Pondicherry a few weeks ago, and there were people, speakers like from Ayurveda background, homeopathic background, and one is genuinely discussing an illness, and genuinely open, receptive to move towards further light and clarity. That's a different kind of a discussion.
Yes.
But we discuss for the sadistic pleasure of the discussion. So that only we have to know. Only the honesty has to be within. Yes. Yeah.
My doctor, who is homeopath, she is also very curious. So I discuss when it's long, chronic. Then one day I asked them, what is it? I'm not able to understand in spite of my meditation and seeking light from above. What is there so deep inside, which is not, which is restricting the cure? Then she is also curious. So that kind of sharing, as you are talking, is different because she also wants to understand, and I also want to understand. So she always say, actually, you have taken everything from a spiritual point of view, so it's difficult. So I just smile that this is the only way what you talk about. Everything is under a spiritual umbrella.
Yeah,
one has to.
but as we were discussing, that there are phases and grades. And in mother's letters also, in Sri Aurobindo's letters also, to different, addressing various medical complaints, if we see, not to every sadhak mother can say what Priyanka just shared, that you have to forget that illness completely. Mother can't say that with to every
सबसे नहीं
disciple.
कह सकते.
So because there are levels, that person was ready to hear this, maybe ready to work upon that.
One thing I want to share at this juncture, when I started doing, attending this IPI, Indian Psychology Institute workshops, summer workshops, Mathais Bhai, I was having some stomach problem, all these things. So he used to say, ask mother, ask mother. At that time, like a child, I could not understand what he's saying, ask mother, ask mother. After 10 years, you are able to understand that what does it mean after this doctor, that doctor doing everything, Ayurveda, everything. Then you understand, oh my God, what he was saying, ask mother about your illness or diseases.
Yeah.
So it is not essential that words go first in your mind and then some meaning, and the true meaning will come after some time when the right time has taken.
Yeah.
This is my experience, which I found.
Yes. Yeah.
Also, we were reading in Integral Healing, Monica, that some parts of our body are very difficult to cure.
Right.
And the more rigid parts of our body, like the skin, not the rigid, but I don't know what the word was, but like skin and teeth and maybe bones, I don't remember. So वो भी होता है कि matter कोई part of the matter is very rigid and it is difficult to cure those things. It takes much, much longer time. And sometimes with our effort, maybe it's not enough.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, anything else anyone wants to add on? So at least now we mentally at least know about the right poise. Now it is up to us to work at it and make it, cultivate it in our life, at least mentally. And some of us who may resonate that, yes, this appears true and right, we can cultivate, and even more uh, bring it intensely to the practice. Yeah. So we can take maybe this next paragraph also today. This one. Yeah. So anyone who would like to read?
I would like to read.
Okay. Yeah.
Secondly, with regard to the movements and experiences of the body, the mind will come to know the Purusha seated within it as, first, the witness or observer of the movements, and secondly, the knower or perceiver of the experiences. It will cease to consider in thought or feel in sensation these movements and experiences as its own, but rather consider and feel them as not its own, as operations of nature governed by the qualities of the nature and their interaction upon each other. This detachment can be made so normal and carried so far that there will be a kind of division between the mind and the body, and the former will observe and experience the hunger, thirst, pain, fatigue, depression, etc., of the physical being as if they were experiences of some other person with whom it has so close a rapport as to be aware of all that is going on within him. This division is a great means, a great step towards mastery, for the mind comes to observe these things first without being overpowered and finally without being at all affected by them, dispassionately with clear understanding but with perfect detachment. This is the initial liberation of the mental being from servitude to the body, for by right knowledge put steadily into practice, liberation comes inevitably.
So this is so very powerful. I mean, this one, this
Yes,
special,
Vijay.
yeah, this especially this part that he's shared here. That, see, for example, if there is a loved one and he's undergoing some headache, some pain, you offer whatever you can offer, and then you forget about it. Like, it's not on your mind all the time. You are, and that is where the division is between my body and his body.
His body.
That I don't suffer in his pain.
Mm.
I know that there is this much that I can do, that I will do. Some suggestion, some medicine, whatever little I can do, the assistant I can provide. But apart from that, I am actually helpless. I can't do anything. So he says that almost that kind of a division, that it is happening to somebody else who you have close rapport as to be aware of all that is going on with him. So to our closed one, we are aware, we know that they are in pain, we know that they are not yet fully relieved, the headache is still there or the pain is still there, and we have empathy for that, we are sensitive to that, but we are not suffering in their pain. So when you were reading it, it was so powerful, this one, that if this division can be cultivated, that when the headache is there or the some other things are there, but again we have to see that this can only be cultivated. I feel, that something higher in life I have to put my time to. If all the time I have nothing to do but to think about myself, then this division cannot happen. But if there is some greater work that lies in front of me, then I would say, okay, I have headache, but it's another part, like let it be, I'm working on it, but let me go ahead and continue what the true work is. So it doesn't matter much. That's not the center of my world. So this thought was really very powerful. This division can come if we, yeah, if we begin to not only think of ourselves as the other, but also treat ourselves as the other, the body.
So what should be the right higher work at that time when you are experiencing pain?
See,
And you say that.
I think anything done with true sincerity. If some task is there and I'm doing it with true sincerity, I know this has to be done. And all of us have intuitive knowing. Like if I am going to murder someone and I'm doing that with true sincerity, of course, we all intuitively know that that's not the right work. So intuitive sense is there that, okay, this work is granted to me. I know I have to do this. So better get at that work rather than thinking about the headache or all that is there, the pains and aches, and parallelly working on that, just like you would do for any loved one, providing assistance, providing support, but not, as we were talking earlier, not making it our center of attention and not justifying it, as you were sharing earlier, not defending. Yeah,
I have a different question. As you said, if I have work, it's okay. I have work, I have to teach, then I forget my pain and all these things. I go and perform with all those sincerity.
yeah.
My question is, if you don't have any work, but the
No,
pain
you
is
have.
there.
We just talked about it.
That
We
is
have a lifetime employment,
right.
which is to stabilize myself in mother's consciousness. So if outwardly any work may not be there right now, come back to it.
Come back.
Come back to it, because that's eating up my time. If that is eating up my time, then the other things won't eat me up as much as they do. So just remembering that we do have a lifetime of employment all the time, 24/7, whether I'm sleeping, in the bathroom, brushing my teeth, everywhere I have a work.
Thank you.
Yes. So not to forget that. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. When we are waiting for someone, so many things happen during the day. We are waiting for something to come, some person to come, we are waiting for a call. Anything that we are doing, all the empty pockets of time, if we can put to a cultivation of stabilizing myself in mother's consciousness, that's
That
it. Yeah.
That I,
Yeah.
waiting in a traffic jam,
Yeah.
there's a to start taking name.
Yes.
Consciousness.
So we'll just go over it maybe once more and then we can take reflections. Secondly, with regard to the movements and experiences of the body, the mind will come to know the Purusha seated within it as first the witness or observer of the movements, and secondly the knower and perceiver of experiences. It will cease to consider in thought or feel in sensation these movements and experiences as its own. So the distinction that we were trying to, Sri Aurobindo was holding our hands, the distinction between the Purusha and the Prakriti. Anything that moves, I am not that. Sensation moves, feeling moves, thoughts move. So taking one step back, so it will cease to consider in thought or feel in sensation these movements and experiences as its own, that this is me, as its own, but rather consider and feel them as not its own. This is not me. I think this is very well established in Vedanta, that neti neti. that we do. I am not this, I am not this, I am not this. I think we have that in Nirvan Shatkam also, where there is this whole kind of a song where you say that no.
Mano buddhi ahankar
Yes,
chitta.
yes, yes.
Hmm.
So all of that I am not.
Hmm.
As operations of nature, governed by the qualities of nature, all these are just play of Raj, Sat, and Tamas. They are just play of nature, qualities of nature, and their interaction upon each other. So I have dissociated myself from at least that much. This detachment can be made so normal. Now, this is what we have to cultivate. And this also, I'm remembering, this comes in Mother's prayers and meditations, where in one of the prayers, she says that how will it come that, that we will not strain ourselves too much about this self obsession. And then she says that slowly, through countless experiences and a cultivation kind of, you know, each element of the being has to be trained and cultivated for impersonality, not taking anything personal. So, not taking thoughts personally, not taking feelings personally, and now not even taking body personally. And she says that this has to be cultivated, so that each element of the being, for now, that becomes a new normal. Let me just pull it out, because it's very resonating here. I'll just, in the meantime, if anyone has any comment, please share. Yeah, got it. I'm glad that didn't take much of time. So here, this one, November 28. So she says that the daily activity is the anvil on which all our elements must pass and repass in order to be purified. So all the interactions that we have at workplace, in family, all these innumerable daily experiences are important, because that is where the reflection of a true realization comes. So, in order to be purified, refined, made supple, and ripe for the illumination which contemplation gives to them. Then she says, all these elements must be thus passed one after the other through the crucible before outer activity becomes needless for integral development. So, right now, all experiences in my life are as if like an anvil on which I'm being tested, that how good is my realization, how good, how practical, is it only mental theory or is it a true realization, right? But then she says that slowly, as we grow, as we progress, then the outer experiences, the activity becomes needless for integral development. Yeah, and then I wanted to come to this also directly. Therefore, are pride and satisfaction with oneself the worst of obstacles? And very modestly, we must take advantage of all the minute opportunities offered to knead and purify some of the innumerable elements, to make them supple, to make them impersonal. See, impersonality we were talking of, to teach them forgetfulness of self and abnegation and devotion and kindness and gentleness. And then she says, and when all these modes, the ones highlighted, impersonality, abnegation, forgetfulness of self, kindness, gentleness, devotion, when all these modes of being have become habitual to them, now that is my normal. That is my normal. Now my normal is not to justify my weaknesses. This is my normal. So when all these modes of being have become habitual to them, then are they ready to participate in the contemplation and to identify themselves with thee in supreme concentration. And then she shares, again, we have shared it multiple number of times. That is why it seems to me that the work must be long and slow, even for the best. And that striking conversions cannot be integral. And we need innumerable experiences of every kind and every instance. So everything can be made use of to further refine. And whenever we notice any sense of self again attached with the body, again, dropping it off, no, taking it as an opportunity to see that, oh, it is still there, and dropping it off, detaching from it. So this detachment can be made so normal and carried so far that there will be a kind of division between the mind and the body, and the former means the mind. The former will observe and experience the hunger, thirst, pain, fatigue, depression, etc. of the physical being as if they were experiences of some other person with whom it has so close a rapport as to be aware of all that is going on with him. So this, I believe, is like, wow, amazing really. This division is a great means, a great step towards mastery. For the mind comes to observe these things first without being overpowered, and finally without being at all affected. So we have seen, again, all of us may have seen glimpses where things may be happening, but we are at least not overwhelmed by the pain that is happening in the body. If we have a true will, sincere will, that no, I don't want to let it just completely mask me. So then we have seen those glimpses where we are in cases not totally overpowered, because that takes a side place. It may be there, but it's on the side. So first without being overpowered, and then finally without being at all affected by it. So many a times it happens that if his hunger is there, I may be saying that, oh, mera kaam chal jayega, I'll be okay. But inside there is a frustration developing. Like, when will I get to eat? When will I get to eat? So that's not there. Without being at all affected by them. Dispassionately, with clear understanding, but with perfect detachment. So that's our way to go. Like lots of work on the way that is given to us. This is the initial liberation of the mental being. Now the mental being, which has lost itself in the servitude of the body, this is how the liberation of the mental being from servitude to the body for by right knowledge put steadily into practice, liberation comes inevitably. One is like a side effect of the right knowledge put steadily into practice, that one has to become detached. It happens. It's like a happening on the process. So this is very good. I think this is like a good employment that he's giving to us. Like, see, your to-do list, we can put in our to-do list. It's good. Yeah. So, but the next one we'll take the next time maybe. So any last comments at this are most welcome. Okay, so I think we all have some good work to do at hand, and that's good.
Just one help I
Yes,
seek from this group.
yes,
And
yes.
on a lighter note, it's a totally different problem. I'm searching my keys. I don't know where I have kept it. And I'm using all those techniques. I'm praying, Mother, I left it, I surrender you, but I'm not able to. So, any suggestion from the group?
I think Taru, you remember you had some
And
experience.
this much I remember when I was putting that key, I was going out, सेफ की चाबी कि अच्छा रख तो रही हो, याद रखना यहाँ रखा है. मतलब वो कोई ऐसी यूनिक जगह.
Kept it too safe.
Too safe.
Too safe. Yes, Taru.
And mother is also playing with me. ठीक है बच्चा, अभी बताते हैं तुमको.
Yeah, twice or I think more times it has happened to me that, one thing is, when you, in that book, the hidden forces, Mother talks about that there are some beings which are, I don't know, either like trying to be funny or trying to just test us, that they hide things from our plain sight. Like you keep something somewhere and then you just can't see it. And after some time, when they are done, kind of, you know, annoying you or just teasing you, you can see the same thing where it was. So, in that regard, again, just going to the mother that, I don't know if, and it has happened to me several times that it's crazy that it's right there and you can't see. So, again, just laughing that if that's the case, may I again get the eyes to see it. That was one thing that I have done. And the second thing is that if I have kept it and I'm sure, then, just, I don't know, kind of going back, right? Like either just before sleeping with this aspiration that I want to retrace my steps. And sometimes you can just see it. But more often than not, the former thing that it's there and one can't see it, I have just experienced that. You're looking confused. Should I explain that a bit more?
Actually, your voice is not clear much, Taru.
Oh, my voice is not clear. Yeah.
So Taru just shared that in the Hidden Forces of Life, the compilation by Mother and Sri Aurobindo, by A.S. Dalal, I think the compilation
Okay,
is.
Hidden Forces of Life, this is the name of book.
The book, yes. I can send you a PDF.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So there, Mother has shared that at times there are beings who are playing pranks. And that's what Taru was sharing, that the thing may be in front of you, but they make you such like a blindness, curtain of blindness comes because of the pranks that they are playing, that you're unable to see. So in that case, if that is the case, one can also just talk with the beings that whoever is here, enough of fun, and please, if you are ready, then I would like to have my key back, something like, so a kind of a communication may help. And yeah, so I'll send you that book. You can read it yourself.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And in the other case, she was sharing that you can also, before sleeping, when one is quiet, then mentally you can retrace your steps back as to what you were doing when you were keeping, and slowly try to kind of, really, one has to be actually very relaxed doing that so that it's completely traced and you then get to it. Yeah.
In one of the process, I remembered this sentence. When actually I searched everywhere, then I thought, let me. Then I remembered this sentence because that day I was too much. I had only 2 hours. I had to go out and I had to pack everything. So then I remembered this sentence, that I had said this sentence कि यहाँ रख तो रही हो, याद रखना. This much I remember. और उसके बाद मुझे कुछ भी याद
No, I think you are, of course, very close. So it's like a curtain of blindness that comes between, us and clarity. And I'm sure you'll be messaging us that I finally got
That
to.
is why I said to this group, let me try this also. Thank you so much. Thank you, Taru.
And Dr. Anjali, just on a lighter note to add to this, remember that what you are seeking is seeking you. Yeah. So remember your key, and remember that the key is trying to look for you.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I don't know.
इनफैक्ट
बिल्डिंग दैट कनेक्ट कि जिसको मैं ढूंढ रही हूँ वो मुझे भी ढूंढ रहा है, तो हम एक दूसरे को मिल जाए।
एक इसी से रिलेटेड इतनी वो घटना हुई 30 दिसंबर को। मेरे इयररिंग्स जो थे डायमंड, वो सडनली आई नोटिस रात के 9 बजे कि वो तो नहीं है कान में। और मुझे लगा अब तो क्या है, तो इतनी जगह में हूँ, कहाँ कहाँ ढूंढूंगी, कहाँ कहाँ। फिर शायद मदर ये बताना चाह रही हैं कि कुछ भी नहीं, कुछ भी खोया तो उससे भी कुछ नहीं होना चाहिए, यू हैव टू रिमेन इक्वानिमिटी मेंटेन करनी है। एंड आई इसको ऑफर कर दिया मदर को, एंड आई फॉरगॉट। जब जब थोड़ा थोड़ा आया भी फीलिंग कि अरे ये था, फिर भूल गए। 3 जनवरी को आई वॉज इन बैंक एंड सम वो रिसीट वगैरह देनी थी। जैसे ही मैंने पर्स में ऐसे ही हाथ डाला, मैंने कहा ये हाथ में क्या है, तो देखा वो डायमंड रिंग, वो इयररिंग थे। देन आई थैंक, ग्रेटिट्यूड तो था ही मदर का, और हमने कहा, वो भी याद आया कि इसमें बहुत खुश भी नहीं होना है कि हाँ मिल गया मिल गया मिल गया, यू हैव टू रिमेन, खोया तो मिला तो। उसके बाद ये चाबी नहीं मिल रही है, तो मैं कह रही हूँ माँ अब ये क्या मुझे सीखना
तो
है।
अभी अभी की एटीट्यूड ऐसे नहीं रखनी है कि खोया तो मिला तो। अभी तो ढूंढना
नहीं,
है,
अभी
तो
तो ढूंढना, वो
बहुत
तो चाबी
इंटेंसिटी से।
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, उसमें मेरे बहुत सारे इम्पोर्टेंट पेपर्स रखे हुए हैं।
हाँ तो वो
So
तो
really,
जैसे जैसे अपने बच्चे को याद करेंगे, अगर खो गया तो कैसे याद करेंगे, जैसे think
सच्ची
of it
हाँ,
as your kid and that is also looking for you and maybe I'm sure you'll find it.
करेक्ट प्रियंका, थैंक यू। वो उस इंटेंसिटी से मैंने नहीं किया, मैंने सब छोड़ दिया यार। माँ मुझे लाइट
हाँ
देंगी, मुझे बताएंगी, फिर मैं इस जगह जाऊंगी, ढूंढूंगी और मिल जाएगा।
हाँ
That's good actually what you just
yeah
shared, because if one can have that already, that sense of certitude, yes,
हाँ
matlab, of
हाँ
course when it's the right time I will get it, there is no doubt. So that
हम्म।
certitude itself eases, and that's good. Yeah,
हाँ
that's
वो
really
है,
good.
और उसमें कितना भी है, ठीक है। किसी ने कहा वो बुलाना पड़ेगा, हमारे सर ने बोल, तो अंजलि तुम्हारा फिर लास्ट में क्या। मैंने कहा नो सर, मैं कुछ नहीं, अभी वो देखिएगा, वो मुझे याद आ जाएगा, भगवान मुझे याद दिला देंगे कहाँ रखा हुआ है। तो वो ठीक है, सो सब लोगों का लग जाएगा, तो विल
Yeah.
शेयर।
Yeah, I have a small, this one, even I have read in the mother's book only. I don't remember where I read it. So, if you, lose something, you just go back to the same place where you left your, where you locked the safe. You go to that place, look at the floor, and call the mother.
ओके
This is the place, see, in one of the rooms you would have kept it. No, you remember where you go after locking the safe. So go to that place, stand there, start, looking the floor, and invoke the mother's presence there. So you just tell the mother, Mother, I don't remember where did I put the key. Please make me remember where did I keep it. And you just concentrate on the floor and you will get it. See, my mother has done it so many times. My mother only has told me she read it in one of the books. I don't remember what book, but according to the mother only.
ओके
She got, 2-3 times the same way. One time a missed key, or some earring, something, it happened. She got it immediately. She was telling all of us, you just look at the floor, you will definitely get it.
ओके ओके, आई विल डू दैट, आई विल डू दैट। थैंक यू
Yeah.
शारदा जी, थैंक यू शारदा जी।
Yeah.
So I have made the whole group at work.
Yeah. So tomorrow morning we are going to get the message, got the key.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks everyone for sharing what all was shared. So just taking one moment of silence before we leave the session, just sharing all the merit accumulated, the delight, the joy, the clarity. May we all share it with all the sentient beings. May all of us have joy, clarity, and delight. May all our blindness be cured. And may we find what we have lost or seem to have lost. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.